Holmdel, New Jersey is a town that perfectly blends history, nature, and modern living. Known for its beautiful park systems, excellent schools, and iconic landmarks like the PNC Bank Art Center or Bellworks, Holmdel Township has a little bit of something for everybody. So on today's video, we're going to take a map tour and just to cover everything that you should know before you move to Holmdel. So we're going to cover a couple different things like the location, commute to work, or even just the school systems themselves. But before we get started, if it's your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. On the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you're going to be the first one to know what's going on in Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get this video started. To start off the video, guys, just want to give you an outline of what Holmdel is going to look like. So just the border of the town and then a couple different ones that it's going to border in the sense of the Matawan Aberdeen section over here. Got Hazlet to the north, Middletown is going to be over here to the east, and you have Colson Neck down to the south. So just kind of a couple different towns. Marlboro will be out here to the west as well. So it's kind of sandwiched by a bunch of different areas, but it's also because it's so large. It's 18 square miles. It's going to rank as 10th in terms of size for Monmouth County towns and just in general. So it's going to definitely be on the bigger side. Major roadways that go through it, and that's going to be the Garden State Parkway. That's going to be the biggest one. This runs north to south, and that's going to be a toll road. We'll get to that in a second when we're commuting to New York City. Route 35 will sneak in right at the northern border up here. Also runs north to south, non-toll, and then same with Route 34, north to south, and it sneaks into the western border right there. So quite a few different major roadways you can get through, and then obviously like the smaller ones, maybe county roads that go throughout Holmdel as well. Where it's located in Monmouth County is going to be more toward the northern side. So you can see here it's going to be highlighted in gold. That's going to be, like I said, in the most northern part pretty much of Monmouth County. There's a few towns a little above that, closer to the water. But that's pretty much about it. So it's in a pretty solid location, especially getting into commuting to New York City. So that's going to be the main reason why people want to settle down in Holmdel. You get a really good overall quality of life, more yard, bigger home, more space, better school districts, and you still can commute and make some pretty good money in New York City. So a couple different ways that you can actually get into New York City from Holmdel. The first one we'll actually cover before we hop into the public transportation is just driving yourself. Type that in for us. And driving yourself is relatively pretty easy from this location. That's going to be time of day now. We'll do more of the rush hour commute. So let's say about 7 a.m., right? Should be about a pretty good time. All right. And they have it down as about 55 minutes to about an hour and 25 there. So I would say it's pretty accurate because you do have to account for that traffic. If there's 0 people on the roadway that day, absolutely can get it done in under an hour. That's definitely not an issue. But with majority of people that are going to be driving at the same time, same place, same location, it can get backed up, especially bad weather and accidents. So hour 25, hour and a half, that sounds a pretty good time frame from, I would say, the Holmdel area. Really not too much of an issue over there, but can be quicker. Taking the train, you're going to be a little bit faster, or depending on obviously if there's traffic or not, but it can be a better option. There isn't going to be a train in Holmdel itself, but you can get one in the Hazlet or Aberdeen section. So I took Hazlet, for instance, right here, and it says about an hour and 6 minutes, hour and 12, hour and 10. So somewhere in that time frame, about roughly for the train. That's going to be on the North Jersey coastline. So the reason you'd have to take Hazlet one is we move back into Holmdel over here. At the northern border, this is going to be the Hazlet train station. You have the Aberdeen Matawan one over here, and then you're going to have the eastern one over here in Middletown. So if I just type in Holmdel, we'll outline it again for you, just kind of give you an idea. So we'll depend on exactly where you are located in Holmdel. You can go pretty far south over here, and this will be probably not usable for a train unless you go east into Red Bank. So not saying it's either one possibility, but at that point, the bus would probably be a better transportation option or just driving yourself. But if you're in the more northern parts, I mean, you can see this neighborhood right here, how close it is to the Hazlet train station. That would probably be a better option. I don't know what I just said there. So yes, about an hour and 6, hour 15 minutes, probably max for the train from Hazlet into Penn Station. So that's not a bad time frame at all. Price-wise, one of the things you want to look out for is going to be a one-way fare. Of course, that just blocked it. A one-way fare is going to be $17.25. So just say overall about $35 for the day. And then a monthly one will be $501. If you are going to commute 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, just get the monthly pass. Is going to be significantly cheaper. I would say if you did one ways every day, you'd spend about 700-ish, so you give or take, versus only 501 here if you did the monthly. So definitely a better option to do that one. Save a couple bucks. Also, with driving yourself, I forgot to mention just now, there are congestion tolls in effect now. So getting into New York City is going to be much more expensive than what it used to be. I would say from the Holmdel location, you're probably looking at about $25 to $30 a day just getting into New York City and coming home. So it's going to be a lot more than what it was. The MTA wanted to cut down on the congestion in New York City, between the number of cars, traffic, and just emissions. So they bumped up this huge toll, and it seems to be working. My father-in-law actually commutes from Howell into the city every day, and he said he's shaved off about a good 20 to 30 minutes every single day. So I guess it's working, but it is pretty costly, and the MTA is raising quite a bit of money, about $50 million a month right now. So people are still driving into the city, and they're racking in the dough. Next up, if you want to take the bus, you do have a location directly in Howell or in Holmdel. I'm sorry. I would say the easiest one to use is going to be the parking ride located at the PNC Bank Arts Center. So PNC Bank Arts Center, that's going to be a concert venue. We'll get to that later in the video, but it's directly located off the Parkway near exit 116. They have that all right here for you. And it goes to either location, Port Authority or Wall Street. So Penn Station and Port Authority are going to be pretty much right next to each other. And that's going to be more northern part of New York City, like the Manhattan area. Do that real quick. Penn Station. And if we zoom out a little bit, you'll see it's going to be closer to Lincoln Tunnel up here. And Port Authority is going to be literally the exact same location. Whereas the financial district, Wall Street district, is going to be down here in the southern portion. So you can see how it kind of would differentiate exactly which bus you'd want to get on depending on where you work too. So you wouldn't want to take the one in the Port Authority and then have to take the subway all the way down. That wouldn't make sense. So you want to be on the Wall Street district one. Yeah, sorry about that. I had a bunch of tabs. Time frame wise, what would the bus take roughly? So let's say you got on at 5 o'clock from PNC Bank Arts Center. That's gonna be this stop right here. They have it down as 5:55, so roughly about an hour or so into Port Authority. Not that I'm saying it's impossible, but the fact that I'd be a little bit quicker than driving, I guess maybe just some bus only lanes, possibly. But I would stick to more that hour 10, hour 15 mark just in case. But again, it's very possible they can get done in an hour, which is even better. And at least you're getting what you pay for at that point. But overall, the best public transportation would definitely be the bus or the train. And the bus or the train, I guess, would force you going into Penn Station, whereas the bus, you'd have the option to get into the Wall Street district. So I guess it would depend on exactly where you work and what would be better off for you. The ferry, I wouldn't take from here just because I don't think it would make much sense for you. Being that Holmdel's over here, you'd have to drive all the way east to the Highlands. So kind of outline it for you. Holmdel's here. The ferry's going to be over here or up here in the South Amboy section. So I would just say the bus and the train, much easier. The ferry not worth your time. Plus, out of all four options, it'd be the most expensive. So that's going to be your main commutes getting into New York City. Philadelphia from here, I wouldn't recommend doing it. There's other parts of Monmouth County that are good for getting into Philadelphia. This just wouldn't be one of them, in my opinion. Moving on to the school districts for Holmdel, they are going to be rated the #1 best school district in Monmouth County. And that's going to be for grades just K through 12 in general. I think their high school ranks in the top 5 or top 7, somewhere along that range. So they're all relatively pretty good school district or just relatively good schools in general. They have a 13-to-1 student teacher ratio, and they'd be grades K through 12 and just above 2,900 students. So a relatively decent sized district in a sense. The amount of schools, you're going to have 2 elementary, 1 middle, 1 high school. As you see, they're all ranked at least an A, so kind of give an idea of where they're going to be at. But obviously, being #1 in the whole district, they definitely should be at that point. There is a private school option, though, if you do want it. You got St. John Vianney's. It's also going to be located directly in Holmdel, and they're the fourth best private high school according to niche.com, which is what we're using. You can also hop on gradeschools.org, compare the two, and just kind of see exactly where they rank each other as well. They have it down as about 900 students. This is just high school, and this is grades 9 through 12, and a 12-to-1 student teacher ratio. The tuition, $15,000, almost $500 there. I'm almost pretty positive. I checked the website a different time I made a video on Holmdel, and it was higher than that. So I don't know if that's exactly accurate. It might be closer to maybe like that 17, 18 range, but just something to kind of come back to. I'm not 100%. I'd have to investigate a little further, but that should be directly on their website. Most of the private schools in our area do offer some type of financial aid of some sort. So I'm just looking to that if that's a issue for you guys and just kids growing up in general. So it's not easy to pay Holmdel taxes plus send people to plus send your kids to the private schools over there. So, and we're going to get to the real estate in just a second, but overall, very good school options that you're going to have for living in Holmdel, and that's what's going to make it such a desirable area. As we get to just now, you obviously have to fund these school systems, and where does that come from? The majority is going to be property taxes. Holmdel, you'll definitely pay quite a pretty penny over there too. and it's going to be derived off the assessed value of the actual home itself. So just to start off, the absorption rate, we check this out because that's going to let us know. That was a terrible underline, my bad. That lets us know exactly what kind of market that we're in. So anything under since 6 months of absorption rate means just 6 months of inventory is going to be a seller's market. So anything less than six. Right now, currently, we're at 1.3 months, which means there's a very hot seller's market in Holmdel, which isn't uncommon, but it's also going to be cyclical every single year. So what we see is during the winter months or the summer months, as we get peak up here, you're going to have the most amount of inventory, and every time during the winter time, you're going to have less. It's just the amount of people moving during the summertime, spring and summer versus the fall and winter. It's very common, happens pretty much every single year. What else we have? Price point wise, median price and average price. I use median. I just think it's a better representation. So you're sitting at just below 900,000 here. The average price is going to be a little over $1 million. The reason for the difference is the average is going to be it can be skewed in either direction, meaning like the lower priced homes or one really high priced home kind of bumping it up. And the median is kind of just like where everything is in the middle in a sense. So I like to just use that one. But overall, doesn't really matter, about 900 to $1 million. And that's pretty much what you're going to be paying to live in Holmdel in a sense. If you look down here, pretty much every single sale, 500,000 or above. But it's nice to see we are actually selling more homes, not by much, but just a little bit more homes in 2025 so far than we did in 2024. And if you're unaware, in 2024, we actually had the lowest existing home sales in 30 years in the entire country, which is something we obviously don't like to see. One is realtors, but also two, for the end user, the end buyer, it's just not as feasible, and prices obviously have to go up during that time frame. So looking into Holmdel in general, we have three different categories for our homes on our MLS. You have adult communities, condos and townhomes, and single families. So you're going to have a little bit of adult communities in the northern part of Holmdel over here. Price point wise, it doesn't necessarily mean they're any cheaper. I don't know what this one is. This 1.5, it doesn't really look like a 55 plus home. This is a different. Oh, these are the Regency ones. Yeah, no, they do get up there actually. They're going to be over $1 million. Everything else though, 800, 900,000, probably pretty much where it tops out at. Most of them, though, are going to be in that mid to low sevens, it looks like. So nothing too bad right there. Unfortunately, adult communities, especially the newer developments, these were built pretty much post 2000. They're going to be a little bit more expensive than some other ones that are going to be older. If you go down into like that Ocean County area, that's when you start to see the 55 pluses drop in price pretty dramatically. So like Brick, Toms River, they'll have quite a few communities like 400,000 and under. But in the Monmouth County area, this is quite common to see. There are some pockets where it's going to be much cheaper, but you're paying for a decent amount of quality there too. But yeah, that's going to be your adult communities. Condos and townhomes, similar. They're going to be in the more northern part up here. Honestly, I thought that was even more closer to Middletown. I guess it just sneaks in as Holmdel. Price point wise, these are going to be your townhomes. Tops out at 690. This 3-bed, 2.5 baths. Maybe like 2,000 square feet ish, and it goes all the way lower, getting down to the 400s. So I would say between what four. This one's probably need a bunch of work done to it. So 425 and above, all the way up to about 700. That's going to be like your condos and townhomes purchases. So just be aware you're going to have an HOA fee on top of there and different ownership rights too. So just kind of seeing what you would actually be responsible for, like in terms of maintenance, landscaping, snow removal, that kind of thing, versus what the HOA is going to be available for. But if you're paying $380 a month, you're more likely not they're going to be picking up quite a bit of slack for you. And then last, there's going to be the biggest category by far, and that's going to be your single families. So as you saw, the adult communities and condos and towns were kind of just bumped up into that northern part. This is going to be all throughout the entire section of Holmdel. This is going to be like the majority of the home sales here. As you can see, we have 165 between active, pending, and closed. And price point wise, I'll do this the easy way here. The lowest one we had last year. Oh, there are some what are they called? Mobile home or manufactured homes. They do have a development up there. It's also going to be that northern part, kind of near. Oh, this one's actually more in the center. The Hazlet ones are off of Route 35 over here. That's what that is. But yes, that's potentially an option for you. And then otherwise, you're looking. These ones, they're all going to need a bunch of work done to them in that 500 range. But as you get right around to here, at least it's going to be more move-in ready. Bethany Road, though, this is going to be pretty much right on the border of Hazlet and Holmdel. So really good if you're looking to commute into New York City, like we mentioned before. If you can see when I click on home, it's gonna have that star right next to it. So if you want to follow along a little bit, but overall, you will find some options in that lower price point range, but it also goes the exact opposite. And where are we at here? When does it actually creep into four beds? Four beds, you pretty much have to be right around that 700 range, the upper sixes. That's going to be your cheapest option. Probably needs to get some work done to them. And we'll probably it's honestly probably close to this, the more like the 750, 785 range that we're seeing right there. So if you're looking for a four bed, trying a bigger single family home in a sense, but where the prices top out at, go on the other end of things. That doesn't seem right. Why do we get bumped down there? Here we go. Highest one that closed last year was $3.4 million, 7,800 square feet. This was built back in 2008. So seven beds, eight full baths, two halves. Obviously, quite a nice home over there. I'll pull this one up for you, see the inside a little bit. So it was listed for 3.5 and ended up selling for 3.4. That's just the kind of market that we have here. And it's sitting on 6.5 acres, which is really nice. If you're going to be buying something like that, obviously a little bit more land is definitely better. The taxes on this one, a whopping 57,000 and just shy of $500. So what some people make an entire year are spent on taxes on this single home, which is kind of incredible, right? So that's not uncommon though with Holmdel. The taxes, I'll even find a more, the average home for Holmdel, let's just say somewhere in that 1.2 range. That's fine. Still $18,000. But again, number one rated school district in Monmouth County, a desirable area, and it's just what's going to come with the territory when you're buying a home here in Holmdel. One other thing to be aware about too, a lot of these units are going to be public sewer, possibly septic though, so just be aware of that. Some people hate having public water or hate having sewer and well water. Some will prefer to have only public or only. So depending on which pocket you're going to be in Holmdel, that's just going to possibly come up too. So just be aware of it. But that's not a deal breaker for necessarily everybody. And just kind of going through a couple of the homes here. But overall, really nice area. Would highly recommend moving to Holmdel. Let's move on to the shopping and dining options here. So when we get back into Holmdel, this is also kind of like the commuting is going to vary based off where you live and what border you're at. So if you're on this more western side, you can kind of go into the Aberdeen and Matawan area on Route 34, and you're gonna have a ton of different shops here. ShopRite's popping up, but there's going to be was it an Aldi over here? I forget which one. There's literally right across the street. There's another one. Stop and Shops there. You got Lavodi's, great place if you want some fresh mozzarella. Highly recommend it from there. You got a bowling alley, so a couple different things to do right outside. If you're in the northern part of Holmdel, I'd recommend hopping on Route 35. This is going to be a great location. So in that Hazlet area, you're also going to have a ShopRite, Stop and Shop. Costco is going to be right here. Home Depot, they have a Lowe's. Pretty much everything you need is going to be right across Route 35 over there, which is really nice. If you're more on the eastern border, you still stay on Route 35, but maybe you come down to this section more towards the Middletown area, and that's possibly an option for you. You got Trader Joe's popping up right here, but pretty much all those same stores. Lavodi's going to be over here in Middletown as well. Right there, got one. Me Mom's actually a great place if you want to go get breakfast. Highly recommend. But just in general, Target's going to be up there. You have so many different options. So it really is basically just depends on where you would go is based off where you would live, I would say, in Holmdel. So if you live in the more southern part, it gets a little bit, I don't want to say dicey by any means, but a little bit less or a little bit more scarce because Colts Neck is very strict with their zoning ordinances. So you won't have those big box retailers like we just mentioned with all across Route 35. It's very mom and pop, small business oriented, and it kind of goes. So anything in the southern part, you might have to go a little bit more east. It might be a little bit farther just from a ShopRite or something along those lines. So just be aware of that. But overall, excellent location. And just kind of moving into the last section, just things to do, entertainment options. The biggest one right here by far, PNC Bank Art Center. Not even a question. I think it's 17,500 seats, if I'm not mistaken, for the entire venue. You're gonna have indoor and outdoor, and realistically, indoor is just covered by a roof. It's not really indoor by itself. But massive concert venue. They have big names all year round. Adam Sandler's been there before. Luke Bryan. Pretty much name any big country star. I promise you, they've probably played there at one time or another. during the winter months, the off months when they're not having concerts, especially during the Christmas time, they'll do a light show over there. So you can go around and drive through the complex. They'll have all different designs with the Christmas lights. So that's something fun and nice to do as well. You're going to have Holmdel Park over here. It's a little bit farther to the south. Massive area, 664 acres, 10 miles worth of trails, tennis courts, playgrounds, fishing, go sledding during the wintertime. I think even ice skating they allow over there too. So that's a nice little spot to be. Farther south of there, if you're want to go into the Colts Neck, just for a different location, Doorbrook Park, similar, smaller scale, but similar things to do, different trails if you just want to mix it up a little bit that day. But overall, really solid location. And I did forget to mention this before if you're in the southern part, Christian Brothers Academy. I don't know. They're ranked, I think, second now. Where are we at here? Should have popped up, but they didn't. But there we go. More to the north. Christian Brothers Academy, probably the second best private high school that we have here in Monmouth County. It's going to be an all-boys school though, so girls aren't allowed to go there. But also really great if your kid plays sports or son plays sports. Highly recommend checking them out. They are typically one of the best in everything. I think their track team was ranked nationally, and if I'm not mistaken, even won it, but not 100% on that either. But overall, those are your main things to do in Holmdel. Otherwise, you pretty much have to go outside of them. I would say if you had any cons to it, I've done pros and cons actually in the past, and it's probably going to be on that list. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'd say more of a lack of nightlife. It's very family friendly. You're not going to have a bunch of different bars and nightclubs all over the place, keeping people up at night. So if you want, we mentioned before, we have the bowling alley. It's going to be over here to the west in Aberdeen. They have axe throwing over there too, so that's kind of fun to do. You're going to have the trampoline place up here in Hazlet. So there's quite a few different family friendly things that you have in the area. If you want a night out though, I would say the best location is going to be over here in Red Bank, which is nice because they have their own train station. So if you hopped on the one over in Hazlet, you can Uber there, take the train down to Red Bank, and they're going to have so many different restaurants, bars, clubs, and just things to do. It's much more of a city atmosphere versus other parts, especially like Holmdel here in Monmouth County, where it's much more suburban, like that kind of lifestyle versus what you're going to get here in Red Bank. B2 Bistro and Bar, really excellent spot. I haven't been to the Red Bank location, but they have one closer down to me over in the Toms River area. I live in Brick, but they have one also in Point Pleasant too, which is really nice. That's a good spot. Teak, I can't find it right now, but that's going to be over here. It's really good. The Court Basie Theater, that's nice. You can go see a comedy show or a play over there. Overall, but yes, Red Bank, shopping, dining, things to do. That's going to be like the main hub, I would say, in this region of Monmouth County. And then if you really want to go to a beach, I would say the best public one, in my opinion, would probably be heading down the Garden State Parkway and going over to Long Branch. You're going to have Pure Village, excellent shops, dining, and a nicer beach than some of the other areas up in like the more northern part over here. So, yeah, that's pretty much most of the things that I would do around Holmdel. They, like I said, they're not going to be like a big nightclub going out kind of town, but they're surrounded by plenty of different things to do, and you're going to get great school district, outdoor life with the Holmdel Park or Doorbrook Park, depending on where you're going to go, and just things to do in general. So overall, if you are looking to move to the Holmdel area, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is down low in the comments and description. So whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even you're out, doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. And if you're looking to move to a different part of the Central Jersey area, check out the videos pop up and hopefully help out a little bit too. Have a great day.